Hello.
Hi, everybody.
This is a new type of stream.
We are here to try a new thing.
I'm going to say hello to Sam, the Vietnam War soldier.
Hello.
My name is Ryan.
My name is Alex.
We can't see.
Not with our eyes, not with our knees.
Tonight, we're going to talk about that kind of thing with a special guest who I'm going to retrieve from Discord.
I actually can't see with my ears. Which, you know, that's, I'm assuming, going to be part of what we talk about tonight. We'll get there eventually.
Okay, let's just go into Discord, go into the place.
The butler? Is that a new person?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the stream.
This is
Oh,
Allison.
okay, we're live now. Good.
We are
Okay.
live.
Sometimes she's in the chat. Sometimes she's one-eye blind. Sometimes she's Zelda Wolf. She's here.
Yeah. For those watching on YouTube, I'm Zelda Wolf. If you're on Twitch, I'm One Eye Blind 95. Hi. Now you get to hear my voice if you haven't heard it already. Nice to meet y'all.
What's that last chat, Red?
The Good Note Guys is now live.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna switch
And I
to
just thought of someone to
camera,
add to the list.
and I don't know if you're watching the stream, but this may or may not be our camera tonight. It might be black. It might be a different camera. There was a bit of a technical problem, so I don't have any way to know.
Apparently, technology doesn't like us talking about disabilities. Either that or it's like, no, today's my day off. Deal with it.
Yeah, that's one of the two seems to be the case. It's always someone's day off.
Yep.
Do 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 do.
But blind
Yes.
never sleeps.
No, it is
Allison,
not.
are you watching the stream like on your end?
I am not, because there would be a delay and that
There
would
would
drive
be
me
a delay. I
crazy.
would just like to know if.
Yeah, could you like
Oh, yeah, sure. All right,
Pop it open
like,
for like a
test it,
second.
yeah.
See if.
check real quick, see if the camera's working?
Yes.
She can.
Oh, the camera's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Good.
Nice.
Yes,
Um,
it
Well-
is perfectly fine.
Shit.
I can see well enough to see the camera, and it is perfectly fine.
That's a good thing to start in on about disability is that most blind people can see a little bit. Allison can
Yeah.
see a little bit.
And
Technically,
that's
Ryan
actually
can
one
see
of
a little bit.
I can see a little bit.
And that's
not enough
actually
to
one of the
use.
subjects I have on my list. Is to quote my list: "Stop making." Ryan, where is it? Why are characters always completely blind? Question mark!
Allison's-
Exclamation point!
Allison's way smarter than us. She made a list.
Imagine trying
I
to
made a list.
communicate to the general population how not totally blind but blind works. I feel like that's the reason. That's the reason why that is.
Yeah.
I that's why I just went all the way blind. Makes it simple.
I mean that's why I use the term blind, even though because I've for those who don't know, I've got nothing in my right eye and 2400 in my left, which means I don't know what it would mean for any Europeans who might be watching this in the future, but for American viewers, what you guys can see at 20 feet away, or for 400 feet away, I have to be 20 feet away. I don't know what that means, but it helps apparently.
I don't know.
So hopefully it helps you, because I was born this way, so I don't know what the hell that
I'm
means.
on the right track, baby. I
But-
don't know if they
but
could
yeah,
measure
like-
my vision at this point. It's bad.
I mean, I think that
It's bad,
there comes a point where they stop measuring and they start saying light sensitivity yes or light sensitivity no.
Yeah.
And I think you're light sensitivity yes, and I'm light sensitivity no.
Hi, K-Dog.
Mm-hmm.
What up, K-Dog? The
Say
guest
hi
is
to the
Allison.
guest. Say hi, guest.
Hi, guest.
No!
I had to.
You did it. That's
Let us leave.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, hi, I'm One Eye Blind 95 / Zelda Wolf on YouTube, Zelda Wolf 2000. I'm pretty sure you've seen me in the chat, and now I'm in the void.
oh shit.
Because I'm unfortunately friends with these guys in real life,
How
so
dare you?
yeah.
She also responds to Allison, Al, Allie, and occasionally Franklin.
Franklin.
I was more of a fan of Arthur growing up, but yes.
Ha.
Oh, like the kids show with the turtle?
I
Yes.
think Franklin's a turtle.
Yes, he is a turtle. He is a very cute turtle.
Okay. All turtles
Like,
are cute. Are you implying that
Actually,
there
I
are
like
some
Pikachu.
turtles that aren't cute?
Yes.
No, that's not true. All turtles are cute. Every single turtle.
I mean, there was like in the Land Before Time, there was a turtle. Yeah, I'm assuming ancestor in Journey to the Mist. Journey to the Mist, and he was terrifying. I did not like him.
No, he was cute.
Oh, wait a minute. No, wait, no. Actually, no. Correction. I like the turtle. I didn't like the alligator.
Well, alligators aren't cute.
Yeah, but no,
Turtles
dear,
are
no,
cute.
you're right. So never mind. You are right. All turtles are cute.
Every single
I
one.
stand corrected. And by stand, I mean lay on my bed.
Ryan's picking out music, so
Yay!
I do that.
Just
Mother.
ignore me. I know you literally can't because I
Yeah,
have
no,
voiceover,
I-
but pretend that you can't hear it.
No, I can't pretend that I can't hear it because then I would have to pretend I could hear Allison, and I couldn't.
That's well, part of running the entire back end of this channel is going to involve me using voiceover a lot. So
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
sorry.
But back to the actual subject we were just talking about, though, which is pretty much all rep in media of blind people being completely blind. At least when it's not about real blind people. Like why? Like I know why. It just makes it simpler because even I tell people I'm blind just because it's easier for people to understand because vision is such a spectrum, and sometimes I wish I was completely blind because so much of can I see this is situational. Like what am I reading? Like what's the background like? How long do I have to look at it? Like so much of that is just I don't know.
Ah.
That I get why, but I also wish I wish they would at least give characters light perception. I don't think I've ever seen a character with at least that. It's always even the end of the original FMA, Roy Mustang, even he only has one eye, and the other guy can perfectly see. And then spoilers for Brotherhood,
Oh,
at the
God.
end of Brotherhood,
Oh,
Well,
God. These shows are both
he
20
goes,
years old.
That's true.
yeah. But he goes completely blind, and it's and in that case, I kind of get it too, because God just fucks him over, because
God, take it to eyes, eat them like grape.
Actually, I'm pretty sure he just stole his retinas because he still had the eyeballs.
Amazing.
Skull retinas,
Which is kind
eat
of
'em like pepperoni.
Yeah, I guess. But
Gross.
it's honestly that was kind of my idea of Truth kind of being merciful on Roy, because Roy didn't actually perform the transmutation. And I feel like Truth is just you know what, I'll take you blind and not make you bleed because you weren't an idiot like every other human I'd met.
I think that you're personifying Truth a little too much.
Yeah,
but we've had
but,
we've had this discussion a lot. That doesn't have anything to do
Yes.
with disabilities. I think
No, it is not.
format-wise, we should start by talking about just the most perfectly right way to do a disabled character in a thing. And
Yes.
that's Toph from Avatar. And then we'll
Toph
branch out and talk about
which
the
actually
wrong
she is
ways.
here on my bed today.
Amazing. All
I
I've
have
got
a
is a
plush of
Bidoof.
Toph now,
There are
and she is amazing.
wrong ways, but the way it's done
Yeah,
in
she's not
Avatar
perfect.
is not the wrong way.
Yeah, well, she's not perfect, but she is definitely the best representation I can think of, especially in animated fantasy media.
Yeah, I mean the way she
Like,
was introduced was, I guess, kind of gimmicky. But when I think about problems that I have with how Toph is, what's that, Ram? Okay.
Nothing. We're fine.
Okay. When I try and think about ways that I didn't love how they handled Toph, what I think of is how she's introduced in the Blind Bandit episode, which, even though the episode itself is really good, it seems like she's being introduced as a gimmick character. And then I think more about it and I realize that even there, the fact that she's blind is immediately and apparently secondary to the fact that she's the person Aang saw visions of, that she was gonna teach him earthbending or whatever. it was like, wow, that's the person from Aang's visions. ...
She's actually blind. What? ...
Holy shit, she's blind.
Yeah. Well, even Katara's like, she can't be blind, can she? And Aang's like, I think she is.
Aang is
Like,
like,
yeah.
Aang is like, I'm a Tibetan monk. You know, I see crazy shit all the time.
Yeah. But I think my favorite part of her introduction is the fact that like the physical I can't see, even though she can see, because like for me, for the most part, I see her seismic sense as just having really, really good navigational skills. Like, because like plenty of blind people in real life can get around really, really well. So like for the most part, I see her seismic sense as that, at least in that episode.
Ryan
And
managed
so, like,
to avoid getting walked into by me like 3 times out of 5.
yeah, exactly. But like because of that, what I really, really like about her intro episode is that, and like her character arc really, is that it's not about oh, she can't see. It's her parents coddle her. Like literally,
Right.
they won't allow her to blow on her own.
Now,
Like I've met kids like that.
That's one that doesn't personally strike me in the way that I think it might personally strike you guys, because you've both been blind since birth.
Yeah.
I went blind when I was like 14. That's another thing that we could discuss, is that different aspects of disabled characters could, very much resonate differently with different viewers. Even though all 3 of us are blind, we're all blind in very different ways. I'm completely blind. Allison's vision is bad but stable. Ryan's vision, slowly deteriorated over years. So
I wrote a paper about this kind of thing in college. It's very fascinating.
We've all had very different sort of experiences with losing our vision.
Or just not having it.
The way that we interpret, the way that we think about...
internalize?
Internalize, interpret, view, anything disabled characters in media is like different because of that.
Well, that's what's really interesting about like the disabled community. Period, is it's the only community that you can join after you're born.
Yeah.
Or like it's the only community that like you can join at any time in your life. That and you can't leave it once you joined it technically.
Shit.
And that's what's really fascinating. And that's another thing is like there aren't many characters like Toph that I've seen who are born disabled, because most of the time at least most things I watch like take place in a world where like at least in real life and in the societies in real life you either would have died young / in infancy, shut up phone, or you would have been cast aside and either left to die or institutionalized. Like I was the first blind person my mother ever met, and my dad too, because in their generation, disabled kids didn't go to public schools.
You just went in the home.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And that's like even I wouldn't have survived infancy, even 5 years I bet before I was born, because NICUs are great. But like that's what I really like about. That's another thing I really related to with Toph is like because like for you, Alex, like your parents and you had like knowledge and experiences to go off of. Like okay, you knew how to walk, you knew how to read and write, all that stuff. You knew and then for you just had all this sighted person information that you're like, okay, so I can use that to understand my surroundings.
It was very much different for me in the sense of like, I didn't have to learn how to be a person while being blind. I had to learn how to be blind while being a person already. So it's that's like significantly different. And also, it was something that was somewhat abrupt for me. I mean, it took like a year or 2 for me to go totally blind, but in 2009 I could see. In 2011 I couldn't see.
Yeah. And that's the interesting thing about with Toph and Ryan and I is like I don't know about you, Ryan, because I don't think we've had this conversation, but at least for me, and I know for Toph, being blind is a big part of your identity growing up, because it's you don't know any less, whereas for people like Alex. Elliot, like I know it can change because like I follow people on TikTok and I know people who have become disabled who it eventually becomes a part of their identity. But I feel like it's a lot more likely for people who are congenitally disabled to make it a part of their identity just because it's all they've ever known. Like they don't at least I don't feel like I've lost anything because I don't like when I try and think of what it's like to see through two eyes. I'm just like, huh? Brain no comprehend, like error, blue screen of death, and I'm assuming it's the same way for Toph. Like Toph, we know from her conversation with Katara in Tales of Ba Sing Se that like she doesn't really know what people look like, and we can tell by the imagery in her introductory episode that she just sees the outline of people. She doesn't see any of the details, which makes sense. She's just getting a feel of their body type and everything and where they're moving, just like the badger moles. So like the fact that like that was all super relatable, but like the way her parents treat her was especially relatable, and I really appreciate that like the social aspect of disability is more the center of her character than the disability itself, because that's the biggest problem with disability as a whole. Like it's mainly people's interactions with us and how people view our capabilities. That's the problem. And I really appreciate, like, as a disabled person, as a storyteller, that is the center of Toph's story. And that's what I really like about her friends as well. It's like there are times where they acknowledge her blindness and times where they don't. Like just at the end of The Blind Bandit, Sokka just tosses something to her and it lands on her head and she just goes sorry. But like there's so many times outside of that, and the best part is like she messes with them. Like that's another thing is like Toph's blind jokes. Like she has such a good sense of humor.
There it
which
is.
like I feel like
that's what it'll look like when one of you finds it.
Yeah, one of you spots it, wipes hands in front of her face. Cause like I can't see, dumbasses. Or like my favorite in the drill goes underground to Sokka. It's so dark in here, I can't see a thing. Toph. Oh no, what a nightmare. Sokka, sorry.
I pull that one a lot.
Like I love that one. Or you don't think I could because what I love is like normally Toph is makes her own jokes, but she's not afraid to be the butt of the joke, because there are so many times where I've been the butt of the joke and I try and spread this message to everybody I know, because we all do stupid shit. No matter who we are, we're gonna do stupid shit, and we're gonna get laughed at, understandably, because it was funny, and you gotta learn to go along with it, So the fact that when Toph's putting up the posters, or when she tries to, you don't think I can put posters up on my own? Slam it. It's upside down, isn't it? And then I wrote on the blurb, it's backwards too, which is just great. And it's just so many stuff like that. Like she's not afraid to make fun of herself, and she's not afraid to be the butt of the joke. What she doesn't like, which I appreciate that the acknowledgement of the difference in these two, is in the chase. I think it's 2 episodes after The Blind Bandit. I believe it's after Zuko Alone. When Katara makes a jab at her, but it's not meant as a joke. When they're looking up at the stars, she's like, too bad you can't see them, Toph. And she's meaning to hurt Toph's feeling.
That's
I appreciate
unnecessarily bitchy of Katara.
Yeah. Well, that whole episode, they're sleep deprived. Toph doesn't know how to work as a team because she's been isolated her whole life. It's a thing on both sides. But I appreciate that subtly Avatar is like, hey, this is it's okay to make jabs at your friends, but there's a difference between a friendly jab where everyone laughs and being an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a very distinct.
Displaying that, you're
Like
right.
it's really, really good at that. And again, other than when necessary, they're to the team, to Team Avatar, she's just tough. In the finale, Katara or Sokka's dragging Toph around because she can't see in that thing, on the ship. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, she's perfectly fine. Oh yeah. Also, back to the blind jokes because they came to me. I love the multiple times that the last line of the show is about Sokka's drawing from Toph. I think you all look perfect, which is just wonderful. The fact that the last line of the show is a blind joke.
That is a good one because Who among us has not pulled that shit?
Yeah, so much. I mean, I want to be a teacher, and like I know, I'm fine being made fun of. Like, obviously, it's something that not everybody is comfortable with for their own personal reasons. So it's good to get to know the disabled person just to make sure they're okay with the jab. But like, because I am my first joke as like a teacher, whenever I become a teacher, is definitely going to be, can anyone else other than me not see this board? Or not see what's on the board, because it's stupid. It breaks the ice because plenty of people are uncomfortable around disability, and it's stupid. And I love stupid blind jokes that break the ice. They're my favorite.
It's a good thing you're good at taking jokes directed at you, because it would be terrible if I were to hurt your feelings by pointing out the 3 to 5 seconds of time you haven't spent talking since we went live. If that were to hurt your feelings, I would feel bad, but I wouldn't, so I get to point it out.
I get very talkative when I'm passionate about what I'm talking about.
Great. We were saying this yesterday on stream, guys. Don't worry, Allison will be here. 0 dead air.
Yeah.
There won't be silence. She's got us.
I mean, I told you guys in the chat that you guys need a third person to keep you going, or else you're like those wind-up toys.
Yes, we are.
And you need someone to keep rewinding you. It's wind-up bingo. But what are your guys' favorite things about Toph? Do you have any favorite moments or anything that sticks to your brain?
My take on Toph is I don't think I love any of the things that sighted people don't love. I don't think I have everyone knows the awesome scenes about Toph. I don't think my opinion of her is that different from the average watcher, really.
Mm-hmm.
Which is to say, yeah, I could point out lots of hilarious Toph scenes that I think are great, but they're the same ones I think anyone would point out, which is kind of the best thing about Toph as a character, representing disabled people, is that the comedy and the quality of the writing break down the wall between a blind person watching her and laughing because she's relatable, and a sighted person watching and laughing even though she isn't necessarily relatable to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely true. Because I think the fact that with the blind jokes, for example, that's where a lot of your humor comes from. Is because you can tell she's okay with it and it's not laughing at her expense. It tells, just with us making blind jokes in real life. By us being cool with it, it tells the reader, or it tells the viewer, hey, it's okay to laugh.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Alex, and actually I think Ryan too, but it's the same with Jew jokes. Obviously, too. Obviously, that's a bit more iffy depending on the exact subject, but I'm sure I could make a Jew joke and you laugh at it because you got a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
So it's obviously
I'm not smart enough
it's
to be able to have a discussion about what is or isn't an okay Jew joke, but I do know whether or not I'm laughing if someone tells me.
True.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not qualified though to I can sit here and talk about what makes a funny blind joke. I didn't go to enough school to tell you whether or not a particular Jew joke is funny.
Yeah, but I mean, you know when one isn't funny. And that's I think another thing that actually something that I didn't realize until I started writing my essay about Toph, which I really need to finish, is that something that I think is really unique to Toph, even after all of the disability rap that I can think of, she was taught earthbending by a blind teacher.
Yeah.
And she's the only one I can think of a disabled character of any sort that was taught how to do something by another person with that same disability. Like, I'd love if people in the comments could mention others because I want to watch them. But like, that's the only one I can think of.
What a
And
great
like,
way to segue into Daredevil, who's taught by a blind teacher.
okay. I didn't realize he was blind too. Cool.
Who's Stick?
Okay.
Stick is blind.
Okay, I didn't know
His
that.
name is
Neat.
Stick because he uses a stick.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I didn't notice that, but neat.
But
But-
he has a stick because he pokes in front of him with the stick.
Neat. Okay. But is like real quick, just because like on this overall subject, like something that like I really appreciate whenever writers take the time to do that, to like have, especially when in like in Toph's case, it's like a literal life skill, learning to navigate, learning to feel the earth, all that is like what is just like a party trick for for a sighted person. Like, hey, I can cook with my eyes closed, or I can cook blindfolded. That's a life skill to a blind person.
Yeah.
So like it means a lot more, especially in media when and in general, like like we all went to blind people camp, and Ryan and I went to it our whole lives. Like having a counselor who was blind and able to relate to all of our crap that we ran to in the cabins at night. I don't know if you did that, Ryan, but we sure did in the girls' cabin.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot more relatable, and you feel a lot more comfortable asking for help. Like, not that Toph can do that because badger moles, but like you feel a lot easier asking for help because instead of somebody learning it from a textbook, they've been there. And like jog my memory because it's been a while since I've seen like the chunk of Daredevil that I watched. But like, I think Styx and Matt are friends, right?
Not really, no.
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 Hmm.
No. Matt kinda really doesn't like Stick.
Okay, I can remember.
But also, I think that the Badger Moles are like a better done example than the way Stick is done as a teacher, because he's really cool because he can do all the all my other senses are heightened, like media kind of
Over exaggeration.
shebangery that happens, with blind people specifically.
Yeah.
No, look, I understand Daredevil is like his senses are like chemically enhanced or whatever, because of something radioactive waste. I don't know. Comics are weird and stupid. But like with Toph, she was like, she found herself very naturally in a situation with creatures that weren't, broken, so to speak. Like the badger moles that taught Toph how to earthbend weren't creatures who were supposed to be able to see, who were blind because their eyes didn't work. They were just creatures in their natural environment, and that environment didn't involve being able to see.
Yeah,
Which
see if I can
I
find these
think
here.
kind of makes the way Toph handles her blindness feel a lot more natural than Matt Murdock learning how to have enhanced senses by like staring at an ice cream cone with an old blind guy for an episode of a show. And then going, it was raining on the cow that they milked to make this ice cream. I don't think that's actually how it went, but there was something about ice cream where they were like, where Stick was like, tell me what the weather was in this, and what state it was in. And it's like, your senses aren't, I don't know. I liked the Daredevil show. I haven't seen it in too long. I can't criticize specifics.
But yeah, like it's Like I like Daredevil for oddly enough for what it did outside of the show, because it was part of the big reason that like AD became a thing, like audio description.
Yeah,
That's true.
All props to Charlie Cox for that, because
Yeah, that too.
the actor who played Daredevil, and he also did the audio description. And he's like a really prolific audio description voice actor. Like he's in a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah, he also did The Martian, which was very very fun.
The book or the movie? I'm assuming you mean. I never saw the movie.
Yeah.
I've read the book like
The
10 times.
movie is actually like my favorite book to adaptation or movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, book to movie adaptation. It's still not as good as the book, but it's certainly good. And also I found the top quote just because I really really like it, because it's part of my essay, so I believe you'll find. So for earthbending, the original benders were badger moles. One day when I was little, I ran away and hid in a cave. That's when I met them. They were blind, just like me, so we understood each other. I was able to learn earthbending, not just as a martial art, but as an extension of my senses. For them, the original earthbenders, it wasn't just about fighting. It was their way of interacting with the world. Mm-hmm. Which that's one of my favorite like quotes in the whole series, I think. Just because like it's so very succinctly like that's why I put it in that part of the essay. Like I could not say that any better.
Yeah,
I really like that quote.
Like I always think about the scenes of little baby Toph and the gigantic badger moles navigating tunnels underground. Mm-hmm. And the scene is lit, obviously, because they're not just going to show you a black TV screen for the duration of that scene, but like it shouldn't be. And I love that they drove home the fact that that it's literally just how badger moles interact with the world around them is by like being able to sort of feel the world around them with like it almost feels like earthbending as humans do it is like
lesser,
not
I would say.
The right, like that's not what earthbending is for.
Mm-hmm. Well, because like
something I think that they elaborate on a bunch in Korra is that humans aren't really using bending for what it's for. Except maybe the air nomads.
Yeah,
just kind of use it for hanging out in the sky.
Yeah,
which
like the fact that the air nomads are so in tune with the earth, with the spirits and their reason for earthbending and all that stuff. Like I think that's pretty true. Yeah, obviously it doesn't align well with the way the world is because like they couldn't protect themselves and they weren't really like helping as much with the world as the other countries. But like I guess like helping is sort of a like obtuse term, I suppose, because help is only from my point of view because I'm a modern day like I suppose I'd just by our society I'd be part of the Earth Kingdom. Whereas I suppose like an airbender would view helping as a different type of act.
No, we live on planet the West. Avatar takes place on planet the East.
Yeah, true, true. Oh, but back to the quote though. Something like that I really really like is like I love that like when Toph because like the earthbender hears her crying in the cave and just comes up and like sniffs her and then she sniffs him and then he just walks away and like he feels her doing their earthbender doing the motions and she just mimics him and it's really really cool because like they're not just the badger moles, they're the original earthbenders. So it's like it's no wonder that that she's the best earthbender in the world. She learned earthbending from the original earthbender.
Yeah.
And then like another thing that I really really like about the seismic sense thing is that like normally when a disabled character has any sort of like extra ability because of their blindness, so to speak, like it's only theirs. But what I really, really like that like downplays her seismic sense a bit is that she teaches it to people. It's not just
Yeah,
her that can do it. It's not just a blind person thing. It's just that just like us with like, or most of us, because
it's something
right.
that's allowed to her by her unique understanding of what earthbending is. In the same way that firebending without anger is a unique thing that Zuko and Aang can do after they meet with the dragons. Even though it's really just a way of understanding what they're doing.
But also though, you also have the sorry, you also have now I lost my train of thought. Thanks, Alex.
What I do? I said it was good.
You are not permitted to speak.
What am I thinking? I was talking about the. That's
good.
okay. I was talking about
La-di-da.
Adrimals or and does it? Thoughts. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like the fact the fact that oh yeah, no, I remember. Because like in my opinion, seismic sense is very much like just having just paying attention more to your hearing. Like obviously Toph also has that, but because we don't have seismic sense, like our equivalent is like my mom has a story of when I was really little in a high chair like by the window, waiting for food, and I kept turning my head towards the window, and everyone was just like, "What is she hearing? What is she hearing?" And I was hearing the birds, and no one else could hear the birds until they like really listened. And I was just like, ooh, or like when my mom and I went shopping one time, and like I've always been one to listen to the music in the store because I end up hearing songs I haven't heard in ages. And my older sister was obsessed with the show Dawson's Creek, and the theme song was like an actual song, and I heard the theme and I went, Shannon's song, because like I didn't know the show name, but I just knew Shannon really liked the show. But my mom didn't pick up on that until she listened really hard because I just heard it.
Yeah,
and that's
people always ask me like, so when you went blind, did your other senses get better? And I'm always like, no, that's made up monkey shit. And then I like hang out with other blind people like Ryan and you, who I'm like, yes, I hear mostly what's going on in the room, but sometimes not all of it because I'm a little bit deaf. And then you're both like, the neighbor didn't push in their chair when they got up after eating their sandwich that was cut into 3 pieces. I can hear that through the wall. And I'm like,
all the attention I'd be putting on seeing is channeled other places.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what's so cool is like
that's
the brain.
A complete sentence for Brian to stream.
If you go blind early enough, the brain just rewires itself because it's just like, I can't use this for this. I'll use it for this instead. Like it's funny because like a lot of times I know who's coming up or down the stairs by like the sound, and like I'm always surprised at like sighted people because I'm like, how did you not notice that? Like, how do you not notice these things? They're so easy to hear. And then they're like, how did you not see that? And I'm like, my eyes are broken. Like, your ears aren't broken, you just don't use them. Silly sighted people.
Silly sighted people. And they're sight.
Like, yeah, right? Like, I'm always amused on what they can and can't see. It's very silly to me. That's why, like, I always ask Alex, I'm just like, would a sighted person be able to see this?
It's mostly arbitrary.
It is. You learn these things when you hang out with Andrew.
In a lot of ways, you're a much better sighted person than a real sighted person. Like, we ask Andrew if the camera's working, and he's like, and it's like, dude, it's on your screen, right? We ask you, and you're immediately, just confidently like, yep, that's you guys. You're on screen. You're in the middle. The camera's good. Even if you're wrong, I appreciate the confidence.
Yeah. Well, one, I'm really, really good at faking because like there have been plenty of times, usually in the car, like growing up, where my mom was just like, "Do you see this?" And it's interesting because like I just knew that she wanted me to be able to see it, so I faked it.
Mhm.
And like even
Sure
apparently even
thing, I
deaf
can
people
see it.
fake it.
Shut up, boomer.
Yeah. Exactly. But what like for me, my vision is like mainly used for like what's right in front of me. Like visually, like memory, I have a really hard, really hard time, like even especially with faces, like putting faces in my memory. Because like if I'm daydreaming or picturing somebody, like I know who they are even without seeing their face in my head, but I can't. Like if I
What's
see
this
their
song,
face,
White Tree?
at least like
That
if
song?
like
Yeah.
that was
okay,
Mr.
yeah.
Dudgeon music.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
recognize it. Sorry,
I'll talk
ignore me. I just
technology
the song was
before the
fading, so I had to ask.
Okay, but like from oh yeah, like with faces, like like if I know who they are in my dream or in my like in my head, like I don't need to see their face, but my brain doesn't really bother storing it. It stores it enough for me to look at them in person and go, oh, that's Mom, that's Shannon, okay, but like otherwise I'm like, what do they look like? Like like I know sort of, but like all the details are just kind of fuzzy. It's strange, and that's what I wish that media would go into with this with disability in general, because obviously every disability in the spectrum, but in this case specific with blindness is like like it's always like people go completely blind, and it's, you ever notice it's always eye damage, it's never brain damage, it's never cortical.
I'm trying to think. I think it depends on the medium. Like if you have something set in a more futuristic environment, it can tend to be cortical more easily, because if you don't have enough technology, it's hard to justify a character with a brain injury or a brain malady of some kind who's healthy enough to be alive but damaged enough to be blind.
True.
Just like in a more futuristic setting, if you were to talk about having a disabled character in something sci-fi, or like in like a Star Wars kind of thing. I'll discuss Star Wars in a minute because I have thoughts about that. Like, it's kind of hard to imagine a blind character in Star Wars who's blind from eye damage, because why they can just go get an implanted eye of some kind, get a clone eye made, stick it in your eye socket. But in a fantasy, more futuristic setting like that, like Star Wars, you could see somebody having taken a blaster bolt to the back of the head, and there's brain damage and they're blind. Not that that would be a thing in Star Wars. I've seen a lot of Star Wars. I can't think of any disabled characters, which is weird considering that, philosophically speaking, Yoda is like the most famous disabled character in modern media.
I mean, Darth Vader counts.
A little bit, but not really.
Yeah, I mean, not in the sense that we're talking about, but physically, yes. Like Daredevil is technically blind, even though he can
This isn't a Star Wars podcast, so I won't go too into it. But not really. The fact that Darth Vader is like a severely messed up and disabled person, physically speaking, isn't something that philosophically goes into the writing for the original trilogy, because it was largely an afterthought that got built up on in the prequels. Whereas the whole concept originally with Yoda was the scene where Luke goes to Dagobah and he's looking for this great warrior, Jedi Master Yoda. And he's picturing a 6'4" chiseled Liam Neeson looking motherfucker, with 6-pack abs and a giant lightsaber, and he sees this little talking frog. And he's like, who are you? And Yoda's like, Yoda I be. And Luke was like, nope, that's not Yoda. I know Yoda. Yoda looks like Liam Neeson. You look like a frog. And no, he's wrong, because size matters not. Yoda can be a little shrimpy man who's 950 years old, and he looks like he could get killed by an errant puff of wind. But, he's Jedi Master Yoda, because size matters not. And, the limitations of his body don't prevent him from being a powerful and awesome character. So, that's the kind of... although maybe Yoda being such a big part of Star Wars is kind of why writers have chickened out and not tried to do a disabled character, because it would just probably wind up feeling like Cripple Yoda.
Well, what I'm curious about with you not considering Yoda as a disabled character or Darth Vader is and this is another one of my notes, is stop making us one episode characters. Why are we so rarely in the main cast? And I wonder if part of that is is causing you to not consider Yoda or Darth Vader.
No, I do think of Yoda as more of a disabled character than Darth Vader. But the whole reason that I don't really think of Darth Vader as a disabled character is because when they were writing Star Wars episodes 4 and 5 and most of 6, no one was saying, okay, so Darth Vader is a deeply scarred and damaged man who has been hurt very badly, and he's trapped in this big, bulky, painful life support suit. I love all that stuff about the character that Darth Vader eventually became. But when they were making those movies, and when they were making the writing decisions about how to handle the characters of Darth Vader and of Yoda, Darth Vader wasn't supposed to be that guy. Darth Vader was supposed to be evil robot man with a glowy red sword in a black suit who swings the glowy red sword because he was a Jedi.
Oh, right. Okay, I always forget because the backstory of Vader is.
But yeah, the idea that eventually was created that I love of Darth Vader as a good man who tried his best and was manipulated and dragged over the coals and destroyed by people trying to take advantage of the fact that he's the quote-unquote chosen one. I love that. I love that that's the kind of character that Darth Vader has become. But in the original Star Wars trilogy, no one was thinking about that when they were making writing decisions about him.
Okay, yeah, I always forget that.
And thematically, the whole concept of Yoda is almost to be the opposite of the Darth Vader character. Darth Vader and Obi-Wan are the only Jedi that you've seen, and they're these tall, imposing, wise old men who one is an evil robot now, but they look like knights. They look like they would stand tall with their glowing swords and their broad chests and defend the galaxy from evil. And then you've got this this Muppet, this actual Muppet that's Yoda, but Yoda's the most powerful Jedi of all, because that image of the tall, broad-chested, pale-skinned white man warriors defending the galaxy as a preconception that they were trying to break by having Yoda be the quote-unquote ultimate or quintessential Jedi Master, which is part of what makes Yoda so absolutely awesome.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I always forget that Star Wars is out of order, so they didn't they planned things differently, and things weren't planned and all that stuff. Yeah. But that does actually lead me into like one of my other subjects is super crypts, because like a lot of people think of Toph as a super crypt. I consider Daredevil a super crypt. And for those who don't know, super
like a
crypt,
super cripple.
yeah, super crypt,
I
yeah.
was like, are we talking about gangs now? No.
No. Oh, but for those who don't know, the definition of super crypt is where they have a disability in the traditional sense, but it's negated by some sort of superpower or technology or
Allison
whatever.
and I have been arguing with each other over the distinction between Toph and Daredevil as far as the super cripple goes. But
and we actually can't do an agreement. So yay.
Did we? Oh.
Yes, we did. I forget what it was, but we did
what
come to a
agreement did
mutual
we come
understanding.
to? Are we sure that you didn't just talk for 35 hours in 1 hour?
I am sure. I am sure. We like for once we had a civil conversation about this, and we came to a mutual understanding.
I wonder who talks more. A great example that I think literally everyone who's read the books can agree is a super cripple as just the worst way to handle this. Is the blind character from Maximum Ride by James Patterson.
Yes, this we agree on.
Which is a young adult novel series about kids with bird wings. That was cool. I thought it was cool when I was
me too.
I was cited when I read about the character Iggy. I was not blind.
Hello, Andrew.
The Angel Kid. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
The Angel Kids. But one of them was blind, and
those experiments.
And as the series progressed, they all sort of developed X-Men powers. And at first, his power was he would pick up a cup and go, my drink is in the blue cup. And everyone would be like, what the fuck? And he would be like, yeah, this one feels blue, this one feels green, this one feels red. I can feel colors. And it was like, wow, that's a cool power for him to get. And then as he worked on his power and he refined that power that he had gotten, he could start to feel the colors of things that he wasn't touching. And the book tried to be like, and he's still blind and he still can't see, but he could feel colors from across the room, and now he's playing a video game. And it's like, oh, so he's blind, but his superpower is that he's literally just not blind. By virtue of being able to detect shapes and colors from far away without using any of his senses that aren't vision. I think that's called vision.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember I read the first book, and then I got I somehow learned about, or I think I just did more research on Iggy, and then I found that out, and I stopped reading. I mean, also, I was at the age where the reading was, where, the style of writing was boring.
I gotta say, I haven't read this series in, how long now? I'm fucking 26? I don't know, 16, 17 years since I read this. Man, I hate that.
Yeah. But, I want to think, what was I thinking? I have... but you know who surprisingly is not a super crypt though? Oh. Edward Elric. He is also an amazing representation in my opinion, considering there's alchemy in their world. I love the way they deal with prosthetics. I do wish actually no, sorry.
Just actual real prosthetics.
Yeah, except they're metal and actual metal and heavy as shit.
They're which made is apparently of metal and also metal AF.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope that's Brooke upstairs and not the army.
Why would it be the army?
I don't know.
Oh god.
They're looking to recruit 2 blind guys, I guess.
I don't think so. Not interested.
I don't really have the physique for it.
No, Alex, roll back to the kitchen.
I miss you guys already.
Dude, I want you to come back.
Yeah, I want to be on the stream for reals. But anyway, back to Edward Elric though. Him and so many other characters in FMA and FMAB are are amputees of some sort. Like Panina has two automatic legs. Ed obviously has an arm and a leg. Later just a leg, or later just an arm or a leg, brain. And pretty much like everybody seemingly in Rush Valley has at least one automatic arm because Rush Valley.
Well, yeah, they kind of think of it as Rush Valley is a cool example in a world where, like, some characters think of Automail as a fix for a problem, and other characters think of it as an upgrade. Like, to some characters, the problem is I don't have an arm. And to other characters, the problem is this arm is stupid and fleshy and full of bones and blood and stuff. And I can't shoot any kind of... It's not a gun. It's not an axe. This arm sucks.
Yeah, exactly. And like I love the fact that that for the most part in Animatrix and the world of Full Metal, like Automail is just a thing. Although there is one really nice interaction in the original series that I like. In episode 5 when they're on the train, and they see that little girl, and she's she's mostly looking at Al because Al has a giant ass suit of armor, but she also notices Ed's arm, and Ed slides back a sleeve, and she's like, better than skin, huh? And I like the fact because the girl's 5, she's a little girl, she's probably never seen a prosthetic arm before, and I really like that scene because that's a really realistic telling of disabilities in general and kids, and the fact Ed goes about it really, really well, because for me at least, when it comes to little kids, if I have the time, I have no problem talking to little kids, because they don't know any better. They're not staring at a mouse, that's learned from their parents.
Yeah.
They're just I remember really vividly. I was walking through Disney World the last time I was there, and there was a little girl or a little boy in the green shirt and brown pants, and he just looked back at me. I was like, "Hi," and then he kept walking, and then and my niece and nephews, they don't see their aunt as different. They're just oh yeah, Aunt Allison uses her cane and has her her phone talks, and she reads with her fingers, and if she wants to play video games, she's got to be really close to the TV, which we can't do, and at first I would tell them I was completely blind, but now they're understanding the spectrum, that I can play video games on the big TV, but I can't play on my console with anybody else but me, because the screen's too small.
I thought about, by the way, other examples of blind characters in Star Wars, and I thought of 2. And they're both not that well done for different reasons. There's Rom Koda from Star Wars The Force Unleashed, which is a video game about Darth Vader's secret apprentice, the most broken thing in all of Star Wars. They basically just did a God of War game, where you're a crazy, powerful guy running around slapping the shit out of stormtroopers, and it's easy. But there's a character in the story of that game who's a Jedi Master who lived past Order 66 that your character is being sent to kill. And you wind up, you and him wind up having a blade lock where they're pressing their lightsabers towards each other, but your character pushes his blade back into across his eyes and blinds him that way. And then later your character goes through an existential crisis and goes and finds that Jedi Master that you blinded. But he's a depressed old alcoholic now because you blinded him and ruined his life. And he sort of pulls himself out of his funk and follows you around and is pretty much the same. He does the job of Yoda, but rather than the disability being that he's a Muppet, it's that he's blind. And it sort of introduces that interesting dynamic where Yoda's been a Muppet for the last 950 years. And Master Koda like went blind, and then 6 months passed, and then he got thrown back into the mix of things as a Jedi. So I don't know. Maybe Ram Koda is like a little bit better done than Viasis Mar from Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, who comes from a blind species of Force-sensitive people who can see with the Force. And that's
you told me about these guys.
That's kind of the whole thing.
You told me about.
They're cool from like a universe perspective, but like,
but not a representation perspective. Yeah.
That's just a species that doesn't have eyesight. That's not. They're more like the badger moles than anything. Vision is just not part of how they do things.
And here's a Star Wars question. I had to look up the name of the character from a video, but have you finished Clone Wars? You have, right?
Yes, I finished Clone Wars.
Do you recognize Kanan?
Yes, I know Kanan Jarrus.
Yeah, because apparently he goes blind.
Yes, that happens in Rebels, which I know a lot of stuff about, but I haven't seen because they haven't put any audio description on it.
Okay, do you mind if I talk about it from the video that I saw? Or
no, go for it.
Okay.
Rebels has been out for like 15 years.
Okay.
I know everything about it. I just haven't seen it yet because I want audio description.
Okay, just because I'm going off of this guy's video and I want to give him credit because I love his shit. It's his username is OAKWYRN or no, M, and he's amazing. He talks about disability stuff and he's really, really cool. And according to him, because considering I forgot that the Star Wars trilogy goes in the opposite order, I clearly don't know a lot about Star Wars. But there are a couple things that really bothered this guy about. I always forget his real name, but I'll call him for short. That really bothered him about Kanan is but the big thing that he ended up ranting about is right before he dies, he gets his sight back. Literally, like a moment before he dies, because he's like, "Man, I wish I could see again." Because of course he does. He kind of ends up using the Force as as a guide, just like those creatures you were talking about. I don't know if I don't think it's as bad because he's a human using it. But still, there were things.
The fact that the Miralu could do that, it is perfectly being able to see despite not having a sense of vision is just a thing you can do with the Force.
Yeah.
That's in several streams of Star Wars continuity. That happens in the Old Republic games. That happens in Rebels. That's just an established Force power, is Force fix blind.
Mm-hmm. But
but I get it. I understand why.
There were little moments of actual being blind, and people would help him in certain situations, but it was kind of give and take with the Sight Force thing. So it was and let me skim the video real quick because it's been a while. I just remember this when you mentioned Star Wars, and I'm like, damn, I should have watched it with the stream. But there are a lot of good and bad things about it, but the main thing was the being able to see right before he died, because literally there was no reason for it. It was just a pity thing. Oh man, he always wanted to be able to see it. Let's let him see in his last moment of life.
I mean,
makes
as
no
someone
sense.
who can't see but would really like to be able to see, I expect to enjoy that scene if and when they audio describe it and I'm allowed to watch it.
Yeah. But and actually, this is a great idea of hey, perspective. It's okay if you enjoy it. I'm just saying I didn't, but it is okay if you would, if you they finally audio describe the thing, then that's okay. I was thinking though.
I hope that they do it soon because a lot of the live action stuff.
Sorry,
I'm listening to Ryan's computer.
Don't worry about it.
What?
Don't worry about it. We're fine.
Okay.
Everything else.
A lot of the live action stuff that they're doing in Star Wars seems like it might be leading up to some of the stuff from Rebels becoming important. So I would like
That would be
to
nice.
audio describe it because I would like to watch it.
Hmm.
Professor
I hope
X.
so too. Oh yeah, Professor X is cool. I like him.
He is.
The
He's
like-
a big time super cripple though.
Yeah, that he is. But like what? And actually, like this leads me into somebody I just remembered before the stream. Barbara Gordon. That was the name of the person I was trying to remember.
Oh,
she.
Batgirl.
Yeah, I know she was a Batgirl, but I can't remember her actual name, and I looked it up.
Yeah, well, The Killing Joke. Alan Moore came out and was like, "Yeah, I think I went too far with The Killing." Do you know anything about The Killing Joke?
A little bit. Aside from this, not much.
Very brief overview. Batman wants to prove that, and the Joker wants to prove to Batman that anyone can go insane with one bad enough day. So he kidnaps Police Commissioner Gordon, whose niece is Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, and tortures her crippled while he makes Commissioner Gordon watch on a fucked up roller coaster. And it's very like shock and awe. Oh my god, this is so fucked up. That like even the writer was like, I think I just wanted that to be shock value when I was writing it.
Yeah.
But that's how Barbara Gordon winds up in a wheelchair.
Okay. Because like what really bothers me, and like what sort of bothers me about Professor X as well, but kind of to a lesser extent because he's old, is like why as soon, like for the most part, as soon as someone who is like able-bodied and fighting becomes disabled, they can't fight anymore.
Oh, Professor X can fight.
He can't. Oh yeah. No, he doesn't. He ever have like a super chair?
Yeah, he depends on what
What I'm watching or
continuity.
reading?
Depends if you're watching one of the cartoons, if you're reading the comic books, what run of the comic books you're reading. Sometimes he does.
Comics are
sometimes
weird.
He doesn't. But the thing. So, like, I'm not sure what you think about this. Professor X does not have, like, an injury that leaves him confined to a wheelchair. The reason he is confined to a wheelchair is because he's too psychic. His brain just takes all the function. So his legs don't work.
I mean, I guess that I don't know, because that's like not a super crip in the sense, but that is a like person who is crippled by their superness.
Yeah.
weird.
I don't know.
That's a switcher. I guess that's a crip super.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to call
As
that.
for why Barbara Gordon doesn't fight anymore, one, I don't see, like
She ends up being the tech person, but like
yeah,
she's friends with Batman. Why couldn't Batman just make her a cool chair? Like I mean, I believe that comment was written in the '60s, but still, doesn't matter.
what Killing Joke? No.
Yeah, wasn't it? No.
No.
What was it written?
No. The Killing Joke was written in like 2007.
Then that's even worse.
Okay, Google, when was The Killing Joke written? (2016)
Oh,
Oh, that
even
might be the movie adaptation.
Okay. I mean, either way, it was the 2000s. Who cares about the date?
Yeah.
But
it's
that makes it even
relatively
worse.
modern
'Cause-
now.
no. Okay.
But also, like, there's a certain extent to which, well, Batman is not Tony Stark. Batman has gadgets, but that's not because he's a genius who builds himself gadgets. That's because he's a billionaire who hires people to make him gadgets.
Yeah, why couldn't he hire someone to build Barbara a cool chair?
Well, he does. He hires someone to build Barbara a cool, awesome, safe chair in the back of the Batcave where she can be a supercomputer. I think that her absence from the front lines of combat is as much about the trauma of how she lost the use of her legs as it is about a misguided belief that a fictional fantasy handicapped person in a wheelchair would not be able to have a crazy sci-fi wheelchair that lets them be on the front lines. That wouldn't be a very... I don't know. I listened a tiny little bit to Ryan's computer and it threw off my train of thought. Sorry. No.
Well, on a happier note, I mean, sort of. On a like somewhat happier note, because like even though I've never seen a thing of actual media to get this right, but part of me finds it really funny. And Ryan, I don't know if you've noticed this, but have you ever noticed that in media, whenever someone has a Braille book, it's just one book. Yeah, and for example, the two examples I can think of are Arthur, when Marina and Prunella are Miraculina. God, I hate that name. Miraculina, who's a blind girl, and I know it's such a stupid name. And Prunella are reading the equivalent of Harry Potter, and Prunella, the way they meet is like Prunella accidentally somehow gets a Braille copy, which that also adds to the humor. But the first Harry Potter book is only one Braille book, and I'm just like,
I don't think so.
It's a Braille copy of Harry Potter. It's 8 inches.
I think it's 3 volumes.
6 inches.
No, I think it's
1
2.
inch.
How many volumes is Order of the Phoenix?
I looked at it.
That's what I'd like to know.
I think it might be 5. I can look that up.
5 volumes?
No way. It's gotta be more than that.
Let me check. Well, because
each of those volumes is
the average Braille book is like. Let me see.
11 by 11, 5 inches thick.
Yes.
I believe it's. How many volumes?
Instead of 8 by 6 and 1 inch thick.
I shall find out, but no. What I find
I don't think we really clarified. I don't know if anyone's hanging out and watching, but if anyone has any questions at any point, you're not gonna
ask
hurt
the questions.
Feelings.
Yeah,
I kind of need to use the bathroom. I don't want to interrupt, but I'm busting over here.
It's a great opportunity. They can ask you how you wipe.
Okay. Well, I gotta go pee, but if you go ahead.
Okay, give me the keyboard. I have the keyboard.
I'm gonna fire Order of the Phoenix. Okay.
Say hi to Hunter for me.
Let's see. It doesn't. Okay, it doesn't say. Let's see the beats. So the Braille Superstore sells it. Oh wait. Oh, here we go. Okay, that's how I find out. I think. Let's see. I don't go to Braille. Oh no, that's why they can't tell me, because I can get it in different grades.
I like how South Park does disabled characters.
I believe I do too. I just don't like South Park that much at all, but I believe I do. I mean, because it's mainly because South Park makes fun of everything.
They do. But also, there are several disabled kids that go to the school in South Park. There's there's Jimmy and Timmy, who are best friends. I'll wait till Ryan gets down to talk about the disabled kids in South Park. But I think there are basically, long and short of it is, there are good guy disabled kids and bad guy disabled kids.
Cool.
And they both handle it very differently. Jimmy and Timmy are very positive, and Nathan is not positive.
I'm assuming that's an understatement.
He's just he's the bad guy. He always tries to ruin the fun, and when people treat Jimmy like he's Like when people treat Jimmy like the crippled kid, he's like, I'm sorry that that's how you feel like you need to interact with me. And Nathan, the bad guy, disabled kid, is like he takes advantage of people treating him like he's special to like get special treatment and stuff.
I mean, if it helps, like sometimes I do too, just not all the time.
Anyway.
Because sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to go into it, so I'm just like, fine.
Yeah.
Like, just not like I can't think of any particular instances because they're not important things. It's just like for example, like, I personally don't need to hold someone's elbow to guide me somewhere, but I'm like, you know what? It makes it out so I don't have to follow you. So sometimes I will, something like that, or like sometimes people do things for me that like I don't even ask for. Like I remember. I got pictures taken with a dolphin in the Bahamas once, and the guy gave me an extra big picture. I was just like, okay.
Sure thing.
Like, okay. But back to the Braille thing, though. Like, I love the fact, and then, like, part of me hates it, part of me loves it, because it's so ridiculous, just because it's so overly under exaggerated.
Okay.
Did Hunter say anything about why he's home?
His work was just dead, so he has to go home.
Cool.
But anyway, back to Braille. I love the fact that like in Arthur, all the Harry Potter books are the same. Like the Braille versions are the same size as the print versions, and like in the Book of Eli, spoilers for a 12-year-old movie, but in the Book of Eli, the whole like you don't know until the end that the Bible's in Braille, but he's just carrying around one like regular. It might be slightly bigger. But at least to my memory, it's just a regular, like, Bible-sized book. And I'm just like, that would be a fucking suitcase.
The Bible, FYI,
really
is a 79-hour audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
I heard you guys were talking about, like...
The disabled kids in South Park?
No, but after that, you guys were talking about, like, IRL blind stuff. And can we just, like, talk about, the way consent goes out the window when you're blind? And you can just grab people. You can just kind of be like, let me grab your adult human.
If you remember anything from this podcast, any of the viewers, future, past, or present and future, just don't grab blind people.
Just don't. If you wouldn't grab a random lady on the side of the road, her having a cane in her hand doesn't equal consent.
Yes, like if anything, you're making things worse because like we're on in the zone, listening to traffic.
Usually we have our paths pretty pathed.
Yeah, we're good, and then you swirl us around, and we're like, now where the fuck are we? God damn it, person! If you want to ask for help, tap us on the shoulder, say, hey, do you need help? And when we say no, listen. It's like if we're okay, we're okay. Like, hey, feel free to watch us cross the street if you're really nervous. But like, we're fine. Like the only time you should grab us is if we're about to like walk into traffic without knowing, or if there's a car coming towards us, we don't know, or like if we're about to walk off a cliff. Like, but in those except in those extreme circumstances, like, let us be. We are normally perfectly functioning humans, and we just don't function the way you do. Like that, I think that's the big part of it. Is like people think like, hey, if they can't do it the way the way sighted people can, they can't do it. And it's like, no, like we just do it differently. And like, yeah, there are different abilities of different blind people. Like I can cook, but I'm not Christine Ha. Like she's fucking genius. So like I can read, but I'm not Louis Braille. Although like I want to meet him really, really badly. Sadly, he's been dead for a long time.
You're gonna need a time machine.
Dude, I just want to go up to the guy, give him a hug, and walk away. Or like find him on his deathbed and just like show him my Braille keyboard. Cause like,
oh man, there's just nothing that a person on their deathbed would care about more than your Braille
dude,
keyboard.
I think Louis would care because you got to remember he never even saw France adopt Braille. He died 2 years before that.
Right, true.
So like I think it would mean a lot to him to solidly know you know, hey, like it's going to matter, and it's mattered for a long time, and it will matter forever. You know, I think that would mean a lot to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like sighted people stop, and also like for God's sake, like stop like breathing down our necks to like make sure we're okay. Like we learned from, at least I learned from making mistakes, just like everybody.
I learned from 6 weeks trapped in caves with badger moles.
I wish I learned that way. That's great. But actually on that topic, because this happens in media, inspiration porn. Like one, like sighted people. One, we are not like, and you know, this goes to all like sighted people from all disabled people. Like, one, we are not for you to always help, and two, we are not for you to go, hey, if they can do it, we can too, because that's bullshit. Like, we are not for you to like have a low scale of us, nor are we to like I hate the types of movies and books and shit that like have a disabled person and then like and of course I've experienced incidents like this in my life, like, you know, where the disabled person is like oh look what they did despite their disability, like fuck off. Just so much.
I have some controversial takes on being blind.
Ooh, explain.
So like, there's a lot of rhetoric that like, because you're disabled, you have to be like
Super.
rise above. You have to be like a superhero. Like,
Yes.
a very specific example is, for instance, the music industry.
Musicians.
What?
I just said musicians.
Yeah. A lot of the time, my private piano professor at college would always tell me, the fact that I'm blind means I'm already expected to be the best, so I have to be better than the best to stand out and as just a human being, I didn't like sign up when I was born to be blind, and I didn't sign up to be a superhero. I just kind of want to like exist.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that a lot of disabled people feel inspired to be like awesome, dope people, and I respect that. I'm not trying to downplay that, as long as they don't downplay me for just wanting to like be a regular ass person.
Yeah, like it's so weird because like people expect us to be super crips, and then we're not, and then when we're not, we're like, you know, it's like it's, you know, we're below average. Like we can't just be average. Like there's no average for us, and it's so annoying. And again, that's another thing I really like about Toph is like she's like, what? Oh yeah, that's another thing I really like about Toph is like the fact that like one, like to her, like I think to her blindness is part of her identity, but being Earthbender is more so. But also like the fact that it's her Earthbending prowess that makes her stand out, and not her blindness. So like you know, like, is she super good at Earthbending because of it? Yes, but that's not like the reason she's, you know, like it's like, you know, it's not the thing that makes her tough, you know. Like and I really like that, and it's similar to, because unfortunately Toph is not the only disabled person, but the only blind character we see in Avatar. So like, you know, we don't know if it's like statistically more probable for Earthbenders to be who are blind to be really, really good at it. Then I kind of wish we did. Like it'd be really cool for like Toph to have like a branch of her school for blind Earthbenders. That would be pretty neat. But like I really appreciate that like, you know, that like Avatar they don't glorify Toph for being blind and being an Earthbender and all that, but they also don't, you know, like aside from her parents, who she runs away from at the end of her intro episode, you know, they don't pity her either, which is, you know, a really hard line to walk.
Hard walk to line.
Yeah, I do that. My braille hole is an ass note.
That is a, you know, just to provide some context, that is a 15-year-old inside joke.
Yeah.
Well done.
I get it, but I sure wasn't a part of it.
No, No. Also, I want to cut my chainsaw down with a tree. That happened that same conversation with the brill hole and the ass note.
With the braille hole and the ass note.
I didn't pay attention to my sentence as I was saying it once a decade ago.
I don't know how you
Yes.
remember things like that. I don't remember what I ate for breakfast.
Well,
I think it was nothing.
No. The
No, it
reason I
was
remember it
a
is because,
donut.
like, no,
Oh,
you know
God.
why? You know why
So
I remember
good.
that conversation? Because I was really afraid of Grandmother Willow as a kid, and that was the conversation where I learned that Alex had that same fear as a kid.
Stop
and I
knowing
was like,
things.
I didn't even remember that, and that was about me. Alice was like, that's what I found out. Alex was also afraid of Grandmother Willow as a kid, and I was like, oh shit, I was.
That's what talking to Nick is like. He'll be like, remember on Saturday, February 3rd, 2015, when you did this in
I was
college?
in the middle of my second glass of orange juice. I'd say about 31% of the way through it.
It's like, no, Nick, I don't
No, I'm
remember.
terrible
I was
with
dead.
dates, like, I'm terrible with dates.
It
I
was
couldn't tell you how old I
9:14
was.
and 91 seconds.
Woo.
It was 9:14.
That plays you
and
somewhere at
21
9:15, I think.
It was 9:15 and 11 seconds.
Mm.
31 seconds? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I'm not Nick. I don't know these
I think
things.
we need to start winding down the stream.
No, but I thought we were going till 10.
We
Well,
don't need to have an end time.
Yeah, no.
I'm trying-
Our time is important.
I'm trying to be natural.
I mean,
It does feel like we've talked the whole talk.
Yeah.
I bet we could come back and do it later if people are interested.
We could do more of this.
because I have more to talk about.
I know you do.
I didn't-
Yeah,
I
but
did,
like,
I
I
didn't
need
even
someone
get
to wind me back
Encanto or
up.
How to Train Your Dragon, which like I also or I didn't get to talk to Monsters University, man. Which
Yeah.
like actually, you know what? I do want to talk about that today because that's like a really really unique thing that I didn't even notice when I watched the movie Monsters University. It was actually another video essay because god damn it, I love video essays. And what I really really like about that movie is it discusses disability in a really unique way, and there aren't even any straight up disabled characters in that movie that are like obviously disabled, but this is a time where in the context of the movie and like in the society Mike is disabled. So like the reason we're blind, the reason we're considered disabled is because most of society, the norm of society, can see. So because we are lacking something, we are disabled. And in the Society of Monsters University, at least the scare program, Mike is disabled because he is not physically intimidating. He is not scary. And so the fact that the movie ends with him not being able to be a scarer, but he finds another way to be around scaring and to be around the occupation he wanted to be,
Mhm.
is a really, really unique and realistic talk about not just disability, but anybody who didn't have the reaction time or the stomach or what have you for the occupation they wanted to be in. And I really really appreciate that. Like I'm still not a big fan of the movie, but I think it's just okay, but I really appreciate that message because there are plenty of times where I like if you're disabled or for whatever reason like you just can't do a job, and like plenty of times you'll be able to fight and do the job because biases, but there are plenty of times where you just won't naturally be able to do the job that you want to do, but there are plenty other ways you can be in that job. Maybe you can't be a pilot, but maybe you can be a flight attendant.
Mhm.
Maybe you could just be a teacher. They say those who can't do teaching, like they say that as an insult, but I don't see it as an insult. I see it as like, hey, if you don't physically have the aptitude for it, then you can train people who do and use the knowledge, because usually people who are like that, who naturally have a disadvantage at what they want to do, they strive to overcompensate, and the best way to do that is to study your ass off. Like Mike does.
Counterpoint. I watched Rhett and Link for like a year before I could tell them apart. I'm not learning 400 new students a year for my whole career.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I can't tell them apart either. But
I'd be
But,
like,
but like
hello, student 214B.
yeah. But yeah, like the fact that Mike, and Sully really, but mainly Mike, he can't be a scarer. He's not scary enough, but he can be an assistant. And then at the end of Monsters Inc., it's Mike's running. I think Mike runs the company, and then Sully's running the company, and then Mike gets to go into kids' rooms because he is funny. And at that point, he has an advantage over people. He's, if I remember correctly, in Monsters at Work, like he's the guy teaching the new students.
Yeah.
The new employees. So once everything switches, he has the advantage, which I think is like a really, really interesting take about disability. And none of the characters are obviously disabled, which is like really unique and part of the reason why I want to talk about Encanto. But if you guys want to stop here, like I'm cool with that.
I feel like you're not gonna have a problem starting talking about Encanto.
Yeah, no, don't
So
worry.
it should probably be at the beginning of a stream.
This isn't a one and done stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can totally come back and do this more. And it occurs to me that there probably are like many slices of this stream that would be really good on TikTok.
Slice.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have to be, at max 3 minutes, but yeah.
Oh yes.
Yes, and
So yeah, like, I could edit those, because
Yeah,
I'm
you
the
could.
editor.
yes, super grip.
I'm the editor.
Jeez. Really just makes me think of the gang.
Yeah, me too. That's why every time she does it, I'm like, ugh.
Hey,
I'm not
you
in
know
a
what?
gang.
It makes you laugh, doesn't it? It's a win.
Ha! There. Alright, I'm ending the stream. Everyone
Alright.
say
Thanks for
goodbye.
coming, everybody.
We'll be
Bye,
back.
guys.
Bye.
Oh wait.
wait.
Also, I'm gonna be in the video game streams on
Yeah.
Thursday from now on.
Yeah.
Which will be a lot of fun. You'll get to hear my smack talk on Andrew in person,
And
or like over the
Andrew's,
void.
if Andrew's still watching, right now he's like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Well,
See you
he'll
guys
just
next week on